right, welcome to Off Topic. How you doing, Brad?
I'm doing good. I almost forgot to pick my mic up and bring it near my face because we were chatting before the show and my mic was like 3.5 feet away, so nobody would be able to hear me.
Yeah.
Which may either get us more or less listeners. I'm not sure.
I'm never sure. Never sure.
You're never sure. We don't ever check. We don't even care.
Nope.
We just talk.
Nope. Oh, we did discover, we'll talk about this, that for whatever reason on iTunes, if I go back as far as I can go, it only goes to like September 2019 for episodes. I don't know why. I'm not sure.
Which cuts off more than 3 years of episodes.
Yeah.
And some of our best stuff was when we actually cared.
That's
back
not
in like
true.
2017.
That's not true.
I'm kidding.
No,
but a couple of episodes that are back.
There's a couple of really good ones that are back there.
If we can only bring a couple of them back, I'd like to go back and like be able to bring back the one where our whole tagline comes from, "Aim for the Roses."
I can certainly repost it.
Actually wouldn't be. That'd be a good idea. Actually, maybe do like a
throwback.
A couple of the real good ones. Just repost them for people who were not around then.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah,
I can look into do. I know you can do that. I listen to other podcasts that do that occasionally.
Plus we have the raw data probably somewhere.
Oh yeah, I kept all of them. I have all of these archived. They're not deleted. They're on external hard drives.
They're actually in the Library of Congress.
Yes.
Yeah. Of Andrew's house. Yes.
They're under the ice cap in Greenland in that place where they keep all the seeds and stuff.
Yes. Unfortunately, the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have taken it over, so
yeah,
exactly. You have to go through them to get it.
Yeah,
I think that happened in one of the movies, right? I don't even know anymore.
No,
they went somewhere where it was cold and they found Thor. No,
that's Captain America. He crashed it in the ice cap.
I'm so bad at this.
Tesseract, yeah. Durr.
I'm so bad at this. I'm a bad nerd. I apologize.
I've
really just recently gotten into.
Well, hold on before we get too far. I was going to say all of our episodes are on Podbean through the app. I did check that, so that's all.
All the way back to 2016.
All the way back to the first episode.
Oh wow, sweet.
So those are there. All right, so go on. You don't know enough about Marvel.
I don't know enough about Marvel, no. And you tried teaching me, and I just got lost. And then
occasionally I just watch them again because they're entertaining. They're not like the best movies ever made, but they are gosh darn entertaining.
Yeah, they turn your brain off and just enjoy yourself. So we're not going to make this a movie cast here for sure, but I got annoyed because in the theater right now there is a new Spider-Man movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I gave up on Spider-Man when Tobey Maguire played Spider-Man back in the day because those movies were terrible, and I said I will never watch another Spider-Man movie. And now everybody's telling me the new ones are much better and it's not the same, and yada, 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 yada. So I was like, well, I don't want to go into this Spider-Man movie, the third one in a series, without having first seen the first two, right?
Yeah, but he doesn't show up till Captain America Civil War.
I forget the whole rest of the thing. I'm just talking about Spider-Man right now.
That's where he first shows up, though.
That's fine. I've seen that.
Okay.
But there are two Spider-Man movies prior to the current Spider-Man movie. And I have not seen either of them because I decided a long time ago that Spider-Man was terrible and men were better when they were bats.
But you saw the
I saw all the other things with Spider-Man in them.
Okay, so
I just never watched a strict Spider-Man movie because
I don't know why I'm forgetting the very last one where they beat Thor.
Endgame, Avengers
Endgame.
Yes. Anyway, so you're also being a bad nerd. Sorry. Anyway,
there's too many.
Here's my whole. That's part of my gripe. Now, my whole gripe is that there's a new Spider-Man movie out. I wanted to watch the two previous Spider-Man movies that take place in the same, what do they call it, a universe?
Yeah, MCU.
So I have Disney Plus because we obviously pay for it every month and don't borrow it from a family member. So I went on there to watch the Spider-Man movies because every single Marvel movie is on there. Except the Spider-Man movies.
Oh, they aren't? Oh, I didn't even notice.
Right.
Oh, you know why? Because it's a Sony property.
It's not a Sony property.
It's not?
It's a Marvel property. Venom is the Sony property. That's why Spider-Man's not in Venom. Anyway, we are completely lost everybody because we're talking about things that we A, don't know about, and B, aren't used to talking about. So
I never noticed that it wasn't there.
no, it's not there.
But
So
originally, the issue was that Spider-Man was owned by Sony.
it was, and then it went back, and Sony kept Venom, and that's why Spider-Man versus Venom isn't a real thing anymore, and Venom doesn't have Spider-Man in it, even though Spider-Man and Venom are supposed to be like enemies. Anyway, Spider-Man is back owned by Marvel, and all of the cartoon Spider-Mans are on Disney Plus, but the Spider-Man is not. So I am going to go and complain, obviously, to the service that I
So Mickey
definitely pay
Mouse.
for. To the service that I definitely pay.
Yeah, your Mickey
Definitely
Mouse
pay
service
for.
is really Mickey Mouse.
Yes. So anyway, to get back to car-related things and movies, there is a interesting new thing coming out, and it's an anime.
Okay.
And I'm not a big anime guy. You're not a big anime guy.
Oh, you
But
don't know that.
listen, Andrew, I've known you your entire life. You're not a big anime guy.
I like certain animes.
So you like certain animes. You're not a big anime guy. You don't have stickers of Japanese cartoons on your car.
No, I'm a big
Therefore,
Cowboy Bebop fan. I do like that.
not an anime guy. Anyway, there's a new car anime coming out,
Okay.
which takes place in the like initial D kind of world.
Okay.
But it's super cool, and it's called MF Ghost. And I've only seen teaser trailers. I haven't actually seen the whole thing yet. But it's basically the Takumi character drives a new 86.
I thought
And
those were Toyota ads.
No, it's an actual sequel,
Oh.
or not sequel, but actual new initial D thing. But anyway, most of his home country of Japan has moved on to autonomous vehicles, and it's all about these people that are keeping the not self-driving but self-driven the cars alive.
Analog cars, you would say?
Sure, they're not really analog because they're all modern, but it's still super cool, and I'm
You control them
looking
yourself.
forward
They're
to
analog.
finding a way to see this when it comes out on full animated series. So something to watch out for. It's called MF Ghost, I think is the name of it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I just recently watched the live action Initial D movie.
Oof.
Have you ever seen it?
I remember we watched it a long time ago. I think you rented it and we watched it in your parents' basement.
Yeah,
Probably
when we were
15,
children.
20 years ago.
Yeah. Anyway, I forgot all about it.
It was weird because it had like live action, then it would cut to computer generated. Or am I thinking of the? Or am I thinking of the animated movie would do that? It was like traditional animation, and then the racing was computer generated.
Correct. This is an actual live action movie.
Oh, yeah, I think we watched that. I don't remember. It was probably once.
I don't know. I didn't remember, and it's on Netflix right now.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this a go. The cars are cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember if I talked about watching King of the Mountain.
No, you didn't.
Again, yeah, the cars are cool. Dennis Hopper's in it. He's like the only guy that you kind of recognize now.
Okay.
Completely unhinged character. Like, is it just like, I don't know. It's weird.
That's on my list of things to watch. I'll have to watch that one, but
it's worth watching. It's just like super 70s.
It's the same with the Initial D movie. It's worth watching for the cars and for some of the driving action. Some of it's real, some of it's computer enhanced. The crashes are pretty funny because they probably didn't have a budget to actually crash cars. So like the guardrails are pretty much made out of styrofoam. But the cars are cool. The storyline is like one of the most cringy things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But the cars are cool, and it was a fun, I watched it over a few lunch breaks, like eating my lunch at work.
Did you ever watch that Jackie Chan movie?
Phone. Which one? Thunderbolt?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, we talked about that, I think, about a year ago.
Yeah. All right. Good.
So, yeah, maybe longer than that. But yeah, I did watch Thunderbolt. But yeah, so I watched the Initial D movie, and if I had seen it before, I did not remember. I can tell you that. I remember some of the scenes from it are directly lifted from the anime, so there was some familiarity to it, but I don't know if I actually watched the whole movie before. But yeah, man, it was hard to get through actually watching the scenes, but watching it for the cars was pretty neat. So it's definitely it's one of those things that like it's way behind the times. Like it's not a current thing anymore, but it kind of skipped over us because I think that when Initial D was first popular, we were kind of like I don't know late teens, early 20s, and it really wasn't a thing we watched much. We didn't
No,
like
we
get the
couldn't
whole.
get the. It was hard to get the manga
It was very hard to get it, yeah.
versus just the even watching it. So, um,
But anyway, it's one of those things. It was kind of a nostalgia trip because of the cars and knowing the cars and knowing a little bit about the anime, and it was neat. I enjoyed it as much as I didn't enjoy it. Just know that it's a little cringy, and a couple parts are actually a little creepy. So it's it's interesting. But anyway, moving on. Where were we going with this whole thing tonight, Andrew? We've been recording now for a few minutes, and I don't even know where we started because we got on talking about Marvel and movies and bad movies, good
well,
movies.
to be honest with you, I haven't done much because it got super cold all of a sudden, and it was stormy, and they literally dumped all of the salt possible on the roads. So like if
Yeah,
there was just like a like a sprinkle of salt, I was okay driving the Q45. But like it is like let's destroy the earth amount of salt on the roads right now. I
yeah.
just don't want to. Like everything is white.
It's funny with all the environmental things that are constantly talked about. Road salt isn't one of them very
I
much.
don't understand. It's such a bad pollutant. I don't know why nobody's picked up on it yet. It's really weird.
Well, some places have, like, they don't use it here in some of the woodsy, mountainous areas because it's not good for the trees that are up there.
No.
So they know that and they don't use it.
No, but it literally leaches into the concrete here that they use for bridges and then makes the rebar inside rust and expand and break the concrete.
Right.
And then you have
And then you
concrete
have
blocks falling on cars and killing people. So,
collapsing bridges and concrete blocks. Yeah.
yeah.
It's all pretty bad. It's all pretty bad. But yeah, so I don't have that same excuse. I haven't done much with cars either. It's just been one of those like Christmas just ended, New Year's, drove across country, been back for like a week, talked about the trip last time, and have
Yeah.
just kind of been relaxing a little. I've been preparing to do some car stuff, um, but I haven't done much car stuff. I did reorganize my entire garage
Oh, there you
um,
go.
in preparation for doing car stuff. Because the problem is that, we bought this house, we moved in summer of 2020. And when we moved in, you just start putting things where they go or where they are, just kind of get them out of the way. And I moved two cars into the garage pretty quickly. So as we got new things for the garage, we never really had a place for them. Stuff just kind of got put where it fit. So in order to do anything, I'd have to move 1,000 different things to get to the one thing. So it was getting frustrating. I also knew it was only a matter of time before I'd wind up like walking down the side of the car with some awkwardly sized tool and damage the car. So I decided it was time to organize the garage up a bit because I'd open the door and just get like super anxiety over what I was looking at. So we went to Home Depot and bought a bunch of shelves. Nothing fancy, just the metal, like I guess they call them like kitchen shelves or like you know what they
Yeah.
are. They're
They're
like
like baking
black or
racks, they call
chrome
them, or
baking
something.
rack. There you go. So I bought a bunch of those. And some um, liners to put on top of them so the cans don't they don't tip in the metal rails.
Yeah, I got all my model
Um,
kits sitting on those.
Actually, yeah, same shelves you have down there for those. So it was good, get everything up off the floor. Um, Stuff like the air compressor is by the front of the garage now instead of having to walk by the car with it every time I need to use it. And I have a tire in the Eclipse that won't hold air because the wheel is not perfect. So I use it all the time, and carrying it down the side of the car every time always made me nervous I was going to damage the car. So stuff like that. We found better spots for the bicycles where they're still accessible, but not in the way. It was just it
Ooh,
was a good
bicycles
day
are
of.
so tricky. Uh, they take up so much space.
Yeah, we have a lot of them.
Ah,
So
yeah, I've got 4 here that I got to figure out how to store.
yeah, yeah, they're tricky because they're not only are they kind of like awkwardly shaped, but they're covered in like pokey, scratchy bits.
Yeah.
So you can't have them just like lying against cars because they'll damage the crap out of them.
Yep.
So they're all hanging. So we have them hanging on a couple of like special bicycle racks. That's They kind of grab the bicycle the same way the one on the back of a car would, like the two posts go on the back of the car, and it
Hmm.
sits on the top tube. So we have a couple of those hanging on the wall, and they're like lagged into the cement side of the wall. So that keeps the bicycles up against the wall. And then we have another one in the back that's hanging from the front wheel on a hook from the rafters. So there's three bicycles along one wall. The three bicycles that we use. So she has her road bike and her hybrid, and I have my road bike over there. So it keeps them out of the way, but they're still at the same time accessible. She can grab because she rides her bike a lot. Um, so she can grab her bike without moving any cars or moving anything out of the way. You can just pick it up off the rack and just roll it out the garage door, and there's no like risk of hitting anything, which is nice. And then mine's a little more tricky, but I don't ride it as much. I can take it down off the hook in the back of the garage, and I can actually just roll through the house at the front door. So it's a little tricky, but it is what it is to keep them stored inside. I don't want to leave them outside in a shed because it gets 120 degrees here in the summertime, and I'm sure the inside of the shed gets to be unbearably hot, and it wouldn't be good for all the rubber components and tires and stuff on the bicycle. So it's best to keep them secured in the garage, and that way they're accessible and they're not going to get damaged. And where they are now, they won't damage the cars. But the most important thing I changed in the garage is I got these parking mats for Christmas. So my garage is, we'll call it a undersized 2-car garage.
Like mine.
Yeah, it's less undersized than yours is width-wise, but it's more undersized depth-wise.
Hmm.
So in your garage, you can squeeze 2 cars in side by side, but you have
Yeah,
to be very
mine is
careful getting in and out.
25 feet deep, which is a good
Right.
size, but it's
Yep.
only 15 feet wide.
So mine is 18 feet wide or 20 feet wide. So it's
It's got
plenty
to
of
be at
space
least
for 2
20 to
cars.
fit a car, yeah.
It's plenty of space for 2 cars. So I'll say it's 20 feet wide, but it's only like 17 or 18 feet deep.
Yeah.
So when you're parking a car in it, it's really hard to judge where you're at because you have to almost touch the back bumper to the wall in order to close the door.
Okay, that's pretty tight.
It's super tight. And those aren't big cars. I'm talking about a 79 Cressida and an 83 Sapporo are the cars that are in the garage. So they're not, big modern cars. In fact, her Hyundai Sonata only fits in the garage if we take the bike rack off the back. And a Sonata is not necessarily a huge car either. So the garage, when it was built, was initially a carport. So they didn't have to worry about the closing of the door. And whoever converted the carport built a laundry room into the back of it as well. So we have a wall in the back that's, I don't know, probably a 5 foot deep dead space that has a washer and dryer in it, and then my toolbox on the other side. So it's almost like they took that extra space where we'd have comfort bringing the car in to not to fill in where the washer and dryer is, so you wouldn't have them, in the house or outside, because it's common here to have a washer or dryer on your back patio. So because the weather's never, it's never wintertime here. So it was just common back in the 70s to not put the washer and dryer in the house and just literally put it on the back patio. So at least it's not there, but it is annoying because it does take part of the garage up. But I got these neat parking pads. I think they just came from Amazon, honestly. They're almost like 2 little speed bumps, and they have a flat surface in the front of them. So your tire goes in the flat surface and holds it down. And when you hit the first bump, that way it doesn't slide back and the car can go up over the first bump. And then you just keep backing up until theoretically the second bump will stop the car at an idle. And you can set those one time so you don't wind up driving into the wall, or you don't need a second person to help you park the car. So what I had been doing was I'd go in the garage, I'd back the car in the garage to where I felt comfortable, and then I'd get out, and we actually drew a chalk line on the floor that represents the closed door, so we'd know how far back the car had to go. And I would just click the car in neutral and like roll it back by hand until I was over that line, because it was just pretty much impossible to park a car in the garage by yourself just because of the space constraints. So that was the other reason for cleaning up the garage, because I needed to have maximum space to fit 2 cars and still have room to walk around and be comfortable. So it's not ideal, but it's at least it functions better now than it did before. So improvements all around. So while I have no car updates, I did have updates to working on things that will help me work on cars.
I've
And then
sort of related stuff.
I bought I bought parts for all the cars. And now that
Yeah.
I've done that, I have a bunch of projects to do. So I have the starter for the Cressida is here, a bunch of parts for the Saab, and all the clutch parts for the Volkswagen that I continue to talk about, but haven't done yet, and have decided that I'm actually going to pay to have that done as well, just because I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that's scheduled to be done a week from yesterday, so next Monday. So,
do you have a shelf for parts?
I do. So they're the big plastic Home Depot racks.
Yeah, because that's basically what I did. I have a bunch of those in the basement, and I've
Yep.
been cleaning out my basement because I'm finally done with all the renovations upstairs, organizing it. I took a bunch of the car parts I had and put them basically on one of the shelves.
Yep.
All the things that I have to go into the cars when it's nicer out.
Yeah, I did that as well because I had parts kind of lying around everywhere, and that was part of the issue too.
Yeah, so
So,
this way they don't get lost and you can
yep.
find them, and they
And
don't
they
get
also won't get
broken.
damaged. Yeah,
Yeah,
because I had the plastic grill halves for the Toyota pickup, and they were just kind of like stacked in the corner. And then I had all the fender flares, the plastic fender flares for the Raider that I took off, and I kept them because I like them a lot, and I'm sure I'll have another Raider or Montero someday.
yeah,
They're pretty rare, so I didn't want to give them up. So those are here too, and those used to hang actually on one of those bicycle rack things. But every time I take a bicycle off, it was like a tumbling tower of fender flares would fall behind it. It was annoying. So it's good to get those off the ground. A bunch of headlight assemblies for the Toyota truck, passenger side window for the Toyota truck. So all kinds of pretty delicate stuff that needed to be off the ground and off of just piles of parts. So it is good. Oh, and I finally put a subwoofer in the garage too. So I had 4 satellite speakers and no subwoofer. So it was hard to.
well, pump those beats.
Yeah, I got to make it sound good. It's gonna be there.
What do you have to run it? Is it like hooked up like just like an aux cable, or do you have like a Bluetooth thing?
Oh no. Oh no. I have a full like old school setup in the garage.
Oh,
Do you remember I had in my house in Georgetown, I had the whole Sony component stereo system.
yeah. Oh, you got
Oh
all
yeah,
that
it's in
set
the
up.
garage. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. So there's a 5-disc changer and a receiver and the 4 satellite speakers and a center channel and the subwoofer. So it's literally set up like my old living room was.
Nice.
Yeah. We don't need that anymore for a living room because sound bars are like
They sound really good
they're
for
so
what they
good.
are, and they take up no
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a sound bar and a subwoofer in the living room here. And I loved my giant, ridiculous component stereo system. And I didn't want to just like not run it. So in the garage it goes. Eventually, when we build the big garage out back, I'll move it to the big garage. So
Yeah. And you can get a Bluetooth thing that would plug into it.
oh, I do. So I have the aux cable in the front, plugs into a headphone jack of a Bluetooth receiver.
Ah, okay. There you go.
Yep. Actually, also speaking of the Raider, it's the one I used in the Raider.
Ah, okay.
So, yep. Yeah, it's like a $10 Amazon Bluetooth receiver that just has a headphone jack in it. So it's pretty universal.
Yeah, so when also going through car parts, I've been finding stuff to sell for cars I don't own anymore to try to make more space because I don't need them.
Nope.
Why am I hanging on to them? And also
Same
get rid
reason
of
I
stuff
held on
that's
to the
no
Raider
good.
parts. Someday you might have another one.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't really need a brand new set of Subaru rear sway bar mounts from Whiteline
Probably not.
when they're expensive and I can just sell them to someone who will want them. And the same for like I had a set of first gen Montero Piero European taillights,
Okay.
and I literally threw them on the Montero for sale garage sale page, and they're gone in like an hour. So
Perfect.
yeah,
Those are the red and yellow ones, right?
yep. So no, they're not taking up space, and they're gone.
More space for more things for things you currently do own.
Yeah, I mean they weren't taking up a lot of space, but it's one less thing to move around and to keep moving
Right.
around.
Yeah, I'm quickly learning that as I've now made another trip across country with more of my garbage. That I have too much
Yeah,
garbage.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, we
I
didn't
got a lot of
buy.
old die casts that I don't want.
I literally donated a bunch of them to Goodwill, and I felt really bad about it.
Yeah,
I mean, I collected these diecast cars for years growing up, right?
right.
And now I'm just like, well, I don't know what I would ever do with a 1/18 scale C5 Corvette. It's not
Yeah,
worth anything. Just donate it to Goodwill. For some reason, I had two 1/24 scale diecast first gen Ford Explorers. Like, I don't know why,
yeah.
but Goodwill they go. So it's just it's very difficult to let go of that stuff, and it probably sounds silly, but it's I don't know. It's comfort stuff, I guess. Does that make me a hoarder?
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, as I sit here in this room recording the podcast, looking around at stacks and stacks of diecasts, I'll probably never miss that blue
Yeah.
C5. You know, like it doesn't matter. There's so much stuff. I need to curate the collection and make it a little less eclectic and ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
that's basically what I'm doing. I think that's going to be I think that might be the topic of our first diecast specific podcast.
purging the collection.
Yeah, collecting too much, what to do with it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we can talk about it because we don't have the answer.
I know, but maybe we'll talk through it. Instead,
Yeah, maybe.
people will avoid therapy and instead have a podcast.
Yeah. Well, I think we can announce officially it's going to be called Scale Autocast, and it's going to be a
Yes,
monthly, once a month podcast.
once a month podcast
Yeah.
just for scale stuff, not just diecast. We'll do model kits,
Yeah,
RC.
sure. RC, Legos, models, scale
Yeah, just
diecasts,
so that we don't
vintage scale cars.
we had a few people on here that listeners that don't like it when we talk about that stuff. So,
Yeah, we get a mixed reaction when we spend too much time talking about diecast cars.
but there's
Which
a
at first we said we don't care because it's our show and we'll talk about what we want to talk about. Hence the Marvel movie conversation tonight. But then we also realized that there's a whole bunch of people that probably don't care about working on rusty old Mitsubishis, but do want to hear about diecasts. So
yeah. So we'll split it. We're gonna split it off, and I think the reason why we picked once a month is because we're gonna try to do it as a video podcast. So you can actually see what we're
right.
talking about.
You can see the disaster of diecast stacked up around me as we're talking.
Yeah, that's the other reason why I've been trying to organize this basement area
Yep.
that is also my office, so that I can also during work hours, if I have a call, I can actually turn my video on down here. It doesn't look like I'm sitting in a garbage pile.
Right. I may actually record that one from the garage where there's good lighting and
Yeah.
hopefully an area to put some diecasts. We talk about
Yeah, I
that.
bought
But
some more, another set of LED photo lights for like video stuff
cool.
to also take pictures of diecast and Hot Wheels I
So
don't
at
want
least
to sell.
at least one of the feeds in the podcast will look good with your LED lights.
Yeah.
Whereas mine will be dark and dank in the corner of the garage. That's all right. I was just talking to Naomi about the fact that we created the stuff for that podcast, and she's like, "No, you think you got enough scale cars to support it?" And I missed the joke completely, and I was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely. It's only going to be once a month." And she looked at me with like, "Did you miss everything I was just saying?" Because obviously, she definitely is the patron saint of diecasts because she puts up with it. But there are a lot of them around, so yeah, she's helped move all of them across country too. She should probably be a guest at one point.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I
why?
need some expertise on like stacking them in boxes.
Yes.
How to stack them.
How do you deal with a significant other who has a collecting problem?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I've now put like I already gave like 10 of the ones I had to Marco in addition to the ones
Okay.
that I had bought for Christmas for him that I found. And then his current favorite one is that new uh, FJ80 Toyota.
Oh, that's
It's
cool.
like his favorite one. And it was funny, he couldn't find it earlier this afternoon. And Stephanie's like, he's looking for data truck. And I
Oh,
was like, oh, okay.
okay. It's kind of like your
It
Montero.
kind of looks like a Montero.
Okay, I got you.
So we found it. He had put it in his. He has a play kitchen. He had put it in the microwave. I was like, oh, you parked it in the garage.
Yeah. Oh, we're ruining all our content for that podcast, Andrew. We can't even do
That's all
that.
right. We can rehash
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so yeah, look for that coming up pretty soon. There'll be all the supporting, Instagram, Facebook pages, and all that stuff too. So it'll be out there. It'll be more content. Hopefully, we can review some new diecasts and talk about some vintage stuff, and maybe do some diecast builds or model plastic car builds, and I don't know. We get a lot of years of knowledge that have been wasted doing nothing with them. So we might as well put them to good use and put it out there in the world, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was just going through the ones that I had, and I was putting them on the wall, and I was like, man, I do have some good taste in these. These are pretty
Yeah,
cool.
if I do say so
Yeah.
myself. My only problem is when I sit back and I look at them and I'm like, man, every one of these was $20.
I don't think about that.
Yeah, well, I
Try not
try
to.
not to, but yeah. Every one of these is $20 and there's 200 of them. Uh-oh. What have I done?
But then I'm like, oh, I get it. Now I can actually, instead of having these in a box on the floor, I can actually look at them now, and this is enjoyable.
Yep. Yeah, it's good. But yeah, we have a few people come on as guests, and I think we'll have a pretty good time with it. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're into scale cars at all, or have friends that are, let them know. It will be called Scale Autocast, and hopefully coming shortly. Much
Yep.
like everything else we promised and never deliver on.
No.
But that ends this year. That ends now.
Yeah, we're actually doing it.
Yep. It's all happening. But I don't have much else to chat about this week, Andrew. It's been kind of a slow week.
There was a funky story about, because we do talk about auction results.
Okay.
This one's kind of crazy. It was what year is it? It's like the cab chassis. I don't even know what year this stupid thing is. It's 22 years old. So it's a 2001 Ford F350 cab chassis that went on BAT with like stupidly low mileage on it. Like it's brand new. Like it was bought
Got
and then
gone to a
never
fire
used.
department.
Yeah, like they just ended up with it in storage. Like it was probably supposed to have a like a work body put in the back of it. Either it was going to be a fire, either going to be an ambulance or a tiny rescue vehicle or whatever. But anyway, someone paid $55,000 for this thing.
Yeah.
For a
Yeah,
truck that the MSRP was $29,000 for it.
Yep. Well, you can't really talk about MSRP because you have to deal with inflation and whatnot.
Well, Jalopnik did make a good point. So it's $560 less today than the comparatively optioned new truck.
Right.
So
So
that
you
would
bought an
be
actual new truck
for 56,000, $56,000.
Right.
It's really weird to me. I don't know why you would buy it.
Because it's not an enthusiast vehicle. Now this is where the differentiation is, because BAT also sold a 1989 Honda CRX this week
Yeah.
for like 36.5 or 38.5.
All right.
But it was a 30,000 mile low, so very low mile
Yeah, that's a collector car.
enthusiast vehicle, right?
Yeah, that's a cool
But
car.
but the crazy thing about that is when I did subject that to adjusting for inflation, 38.5, or sorry, the car brand new in
What,
2000,
like 18 grand?
keep going way back. The car brand new in 1988 was $9,000.
Oh, well, that's cheap.
Yeah, so
But that was a lot then.
pushing that forward for inflation, $9,000 in 88 in 2022 is worth $17,000.
Yeah.
Well, that means that somebody paid the equivalent of a little more than two brand new CRXs for
Yeah, but
a 30,000 mile almost brand new CRX now,
because you
which
won't find the one.
you can't get, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So because it's a collector car, it's a sports car, it's
Yeah.
something interesting and different
So
and new. It's neat.
so yeah, your point is that Honda does not make a CRX equivalent vehicle, but Ford continues to make a cab chassis
Yeah,
that
that's the
is
point. Yeah.
infinitely better than the one that came out in 2001.
Hmm. I would say it's infinitely better. The only thing that's probably not better is that a 2000 F350 is a 7.3 Power Stroke, which is long known as being one of the most reliable diesels on the market,
Sure.
and even more so than a current new one.
Yeah,
So
but you can
if
get
you want,
you can get a 7.3 Godzilla engine, probably an F350. So
yeah, but they want a diesel. They want the Power Stroke. They don't want
I guess everything's going
a
gas.
gasser. Yeah. So you can still get a diesel, cab chassis,
Yeah.
but you don't have that, end of the world reliable 7.3. You have whatever the 6.3, 6.4, 6.7, whatever they are now. They're not known for the same longevity as a 7.3. So this one of two things is going to happen with this truck. Somebody bought it for 55 grand because they know the operating cost of this vehicle over the next 30 years, if they use it, is going to be significantly less than the operating cost of a brand new F Series. Or they bought it and they're going to park it in a collection of other low mile cars, and it doesn't matter. So those are the two things that are going to happen. If somebody did buy this truck to use this truck, that's why they would do it, because the new F Series, once the warranty is over, that diesel motor has a lot more maintenance requirements than this one does. So this one would just keep running and running and running, and it's starting from zero still. It's a brand new truck. Whereas, buying a used one for, used 2000 F350 is probably 15 grand, right? So you spend
Oh,
15 grand on a used
not
one,
even.
and
No, they're like 2025.
well, a cab chassis would be cheaper than a full pickup truck.
Oh, you say that, but no.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll have to look it up later and prove you wrong, because I think they are a little cheaper. But anyway, so
I
fine, 15 grand, 20 grand, whatever it is. By the time you have used that used vehicle, which probably already has 300,000 plus miles on it, and got it to the level of this truck, you're probably not as far off. And you get a truck with a brand new motor, it's ready to go. You can go a half a million miles without, hardly any maintenance on this thing, just regular fluid changes. So I do get it. I think the price is a little bit much, but I do get it. You don't have to deal with DEF. You don't have to deal with whatever the emissions equipment is in the new ones. The EGR coolers and all that stuff is not on this particular vehicle. It's just an easier to maintain, easier to use, simpler vehicle. And yeah, the price is crazy, but again, what's $29,000, which was the MSRP of this truck in 2000, worth now in 2022? So, you know what I mean?
guess maybe.
I'm trying to to make a use case for it. And
Yeah, for a single person to buy it, I guess, because a fleet doesn't care. They want new
a
stuff.
fleet wouldn't care at all. But if it's a single contractor, who's
I want the last truck. This is going to be the truck that's going to be with me till the end.
that's a very good
They've
possibility. I
got
mean,
their
that's
F-350 with 500,000 miles on it. And they want to get another brand new one.
yeah,
They've never had another chance at it.
yeah, and you're not paying that much more than the truck cost new. The truck was $29,000 in 2000, which is the equivalent of $46,000 today. So, I mean, if you, I don't know, I think when you break it down that way, it's not as crazy as it sounds. And you have maybe you wanted a 2000 truck when they were new and weren't in the place to buy one, and now you are, and
I guess.
now you buy it. I dig it. If I was in the position where I owned a very small business and needed a truck and could afford a $56,000 brand new 2000 truck, I might buy it.
Or you've got a bunch of money to launder and you don't want to attract attention by buying a Ferrari.
Well, show me a Ferrari you can buy for 50 grand. maybe this is a more nefarious thing here, but I think that I'm willing to bet that my guess is somewhere in the realm of what happened. Somebody's just hedging their bets that the difference for running that old truck for their small independent contracting company will cost less than running a new truck and paying the same money. So I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Did we talk about Bring a Trailer's total sales for last year yet?
No.
Have you heard the number?
I did, but I don't remember it. I didn't even know they were owned by Hearst Auto now, but that's also crazy.
Yeah.
That was a while ago, I guess.
Yeah. $829 million worth of cars.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, in comparison, what's the biggest auction company you can think of that's not an online auction?
What do you mean, for cars or for anything in
For
general?
cars. For cars.
Probably Odessa
Okay. Let
or
me
American
rewind
Mannheim
back.
or whatever it is.
Hold on. No. Scratch that. What's the biggest auction you can think of? It's not an online auction. That's for collector cars.
Oh, well, it'd be Meekums or Barrett Jackson.
Okay, so
Are they the same? Aren't they the same? They seem like they're the same. Like
they're
Meekum
not
and
the
Barrett
same.
Jackson to me is like Hot Wheels and Matchbox.
Yeah, they're very different companies owned by very different people. But yes, they are
Oh,
very similar in presentation.
yeah.
I can speak clearly on this because I technically work for Barrett Jackson now. So
Oh, okay.
my paycheck does say Barrett Jackson on it. So Bring a Trailer sold $829 million of cars in 21. Do you want to guess what Barrett Jackson's confirmed annual sales were?
20 million.
Oh, come on now. Not
All right.
that much.
All right. All right. Hold on. So BAT was 820 million.
829 million. Yep.
Whoa. Almost
Almost
wow.
$1 billion,
Almost $1
dude.
billion.
Yeah.
That's
So many cars.
wow. All right. 500 million.
191 million.
Whoa.
Yeah. Now
The
Meekum.
next runner up. Wow.
No, the next runner up is Meekum. Meekum did 500 million.
Okay.
So, but Meekum does more auctions than Barrett does. But still, to think that
Where are these cars going and how, like, man, that's a lot of cars changing hands. I
that's
mean,
what my next point was.
they're fairly high dollar cars. So I
It
wonder what the actual number of vehicles is. Do you have those?
well
Is that anywhere?
at any given time, there's 500 live auctions on Bring a Trailer.
Man, that's so wild that there's enough people. But then that brings me to the other thing I was reading about. So just used car sales in general, last year was 40.9 million vehicles, not dollars,
Yeah.
vehicles.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of vehicles moving around. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it really is. And what blows my mind about the collector car market though is just where's the money coming from? Where are the cars coming from? Where are the cars going? How is it possibly that much people that are into this? And it seems like on your normal day to day basis, you don't meet anybody who's into collecting vintage cars.
Oh, this is true. Yeah, it seems like you'd have at least 2 or 3 of us in every block.
Right. Which is a little more common out here, I think, than it is there. But it's not like a common thing to just have.
I think it's definitely fairly common here. It's just more hidden. People hide their cars,
Yeah, maybe.
especially because of the weather. And also they don't. It's more like a New England thing. They don't like to show off.
Yeah, it's definitely that whole New England, like,
Old money doesn't show
yeah.
off too much. It's a if you know, you know.
So, I mean, Haggerty is pretty much in the know with all this stuff. Um, and Haggerty seems to think that, or they estimate that the annual sale of collector cars, like worldwide, is $30 billion.
That's crazy.
Which, if BAT is doing 800 million alone, that's not an unreasonable number to think about. But again, if it's that much money, why is everybody? Where are these cars? What's happening with them? And why is everything I own worth less than $5,000? I don't understand.
Yeah, but it all adds up, I guess. And then, yeah, are they
All right,
just
so
changing
here's
hands around the same people? I don't understand.
I found the number here. BAT listed. How many cars do you think they listed in 2021? I don't have total sales. I mean total like how many sold versus didn't sell. But how many cars do you think they listed?
I don't want to do the math. I mean, I'm just gonna guess because I don't even want to do the
Sure.
estimation. I'll say 150,000 cars.
Oh God, no, you're way off.
Like
That's
too high or too low?
I'd like to know how you estimated that number because it doesn't even make any sense.
Too high or too low?
Way too high, like
Oh,
times 10.
I thought you said at
Almost
any
10.
one time they have like 500 cars on.
There's 500 cars live at any given time. That doesn't mean 500 cars end every day. That means there's
Oh,
500
right, right,
live
right, right.
auctions at
That's
all time.
yeah. It's late. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm like 500 cars a day, 365 days a year. No, that's not. That doesn't make any sense. That's dumb. This is why I'm not a mathematician.
That's 17,846 listings
For the whole year
for the whole year.
to do
17,000 listings.
829.
$828 million.
Whoa.
So that's an average sale price of $46,000.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're not talking about $5,000 Dodge Colts here. We're talking about
No, that's quite an average
17,000.
price.
Yeah, 46 grand is a lot of money. And I listen, I live this world now. I work for one of these online auction houses, and we live and die by the numbers, and we see average sale prices in the $30,000 all the time. An average day, most cars that are selling on an online auction are not me buying the $600 Cressida.
No, no, and I don't think this is because there was a time when people weren't going on vacations. Yeah, there was a little more disposable income, but that doesn't make up for this. Like people
No.
had disposable income before
Yep.
the pandemic, so and they still have it now. But yeah, you're right. It's like where are all these cars going? Like are they
Yeah.
just exchanging between the same people?
Yeah, I don't understand. Um, it just
Because you're
seems
right.
like
You don't know that many people. You do and you don't.
yeah.
Like you
I mean,
don't.
listen, you go to a car show on a Saturday and there's 100, 200
Yeah,
cars there,
yeah. So
but
it's
you're talking 200 cars in a city of I don't know how many people live in Phoenix. It's got to be a few 100,000.
yeah. So
So
even
if
like Salem or Peabody where I live, it's like 30,000-40,000 people in each of the
Salem
cities.
is 90,000,
Is it now? Yeah,
it's a lot of people. Yeah,
it's up quite a bit now.
yeah.
But yeah, that's just like one city.
Maybe it's 50,000. I don't know. There's 1.6. Okay, there's 1.63 million people in Phoenix.
Okay.
It's a lot of people, and to have a car show on a Saturday night have 200 people, like That's a very small percentage of
It is.
1.3 million.
It is. You wouldn't run into them.
No. So where are all these car sales happening? I don't understand. And this is what happens every day at work. We talk about like, we have all these cars to sell. It says 43,000 people in Salem.
Yeah.
So you were closer than I was. I was way off.
Yeah, I was like, there's 30 or 40,000 people in each of these cities, and you don't run into that many people.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the local
But
cruise night
the
would have
same
like
thing.
100 people.
Yeah. Which is not proportional to the 1.6
No,
million here. This doesn't
no.
make sense.
Yeah, it's wild. And then you would, yeah, like, are they all going to like a sultan in the Middle East? It's like he's got like 1,000 car collection
So
somewhere.
I can tell you right now that we do have buyers on our site that buy multiple cars.
Yeah.
We have one particular buyer who's bought, I think he's up to 18 cars
Hmm.
from us, and he has spent over $1 million in cars on our site.
I mean,
Um,
there are definitely people that have Jay Leno money that are not Jay Leno famous, and they don't want to be Jay Leno famous.
yeah, yeah, and they just buy cars. And this particular person, I'm not going to say names or who he is or where he is, because he's pretty private about it. But he was buying all these cars because he says he's at a point in his life where he just wants to collect all the cars he ever wanted to own,
Right.
and he
Well,
can.
there's, I
And you
mean,
know what? I mean, that's me. I'd do that if I had that kind of money.
I mean, there's people around here, local dealer owners. Ernie Bach Jr. He has a huge car
Sure.
collection.
The most
Uh,
famous one out there is Herb Chambers.
yep, Herb Chambers got a huge collection.
Yeah,
Brian Kelly has a huge collection. They actually, yeah, they all have huge collections
sure.
because they're all millionaires,
Yep.
billionaires.
Yeah, it's just it's crazy to me, how much is out there. And one of the other facts that I think we talked about a couple weeks ago was that 25% of all BAT sales are from the top 1% of their sellers.
Yeah,
So 25% of $800+ million is from. So 25% of that is
yeah. There's
200
1%
million, and 1%
of their sellers are moving that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because there's like power sellers, just like on eBay, you have like a power seller.
yeah. Like the king of Bring a Trailer is the account 911R.
Uh huh.
And he has the cars he sells go for more money than they probably should because he's a well-known seller and they come from his dealership, and his photography is really good. And it's just insert Bernie Sanders meme, the top 1% of 25% of like what. It's The numbers are mind-boggling. And I'm sure if I ran those numbers for our site, it'd probably be a similar situation. I know what sellers we work with all the time. I certainly know what buyers buy all the time. And it's weird to even think about it, because buying a car is such. And some people probably look at us, Andrew, as people who own way more cars than we should, and are
Yeah,
like, who are these wasteful people owning all these cars? But we are nothing. And us owning 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 cars is a blip on the radar of some of these collectors. And you or me buying a car is such an event. Like, it becomes this whole thing. Like, we need to figure out the money situation and the transportation situation and the storage situation, and there's a whole like thing about it. It becomes this whole. I don't know, it's an event in our lives. Buying a car is an event in our lives. And these people are out there buying cars like it's us at Walmart buying Hot Wheels.
yeah,
It's just another day to them. This one particular buyer, we're like, what does he like? Go to lunch and be like, oh, I got 15 minutes. I'm gonna buy a couple cars today on Auto Hunter. Like, what is happening? Like,
mm,
it's just so far removed from who we are and what we know. It's hard to see it. It's very difficult to work in that space and not be a little, I don't want to say jealous, but envious for sure. Because I'd love to be able to just go out and buy a car on a whim without even considering it. I bought that $600 Cressida on an auction, and I was like sweating bullets about spending the $600 on it. So it's just a world we don't understand. I guess we're in the wrong circles. We we, we need some more money. But anyway, that's the end of my rant.
yeah. No, it's interesting. And 2020 kind of started taking off a lot, and then 2021 like really exploded with a lot of sales. So
Yeah.
because
Well,
they're saying Bring a Trailer actually eclipsed the in-person auctions
yeah.
over 2021, I think.
Yeah. And that's those numbers I was just telling you. Like Barrett did what 120 million,
Yeah.
and they did 828 million. So Barrett plus Meekum is $200 million less than Bring a Trailer did.
Yeah, and then you think about whatever their percentage of sellers fees are. It's crazy.
It's not a lot, so it's a little harder one to figure out. So BAT does a 5% buyer's commission. There's no seller's commission. So they do a 5% buyer's commission, and it's $100 flat rate to run your car. But there's also a $5,000 cap on the buyer's commission. So they make a maximum of $5,000 in each car. So they don't actually make 5% of 829 million, but you got to figure they brought in 30 or 40 million anyway, just in buyer's commissions, right? For a couple of guys in an office in California to start that and be there is pretty crazy. I don't know if the math works out, but it's got to be somewhere around there. 17,000 cars run.
It's pretty wild. Yeah.
Anyway, that's all. That's the end of the rant. I live in this world every day now, and it's just it's a spectacle online. Like we're unfortunately, going to the big Scottsdale auctions next week out here for Barrett Jackson, and it's gonna be wild to watch it happen in person too. To watch these people just sit there dropping hundreds of thousands of dollars without even thinking about it. It's like I want to go create an auction where somebody who has way too much money and just needs to burn it has the opportunity to pay my house off. Like, what are you bidding on? The opportunity to pay off this random person's house. It's just weird to think about that kind of money. I can't even fathom house money for a car. So
I know, right? And then it's like, I guess that's part of the appeal is that some people just like to watch this stuff.
Yeah, and it's like watching a train wreck, I guess, or plane wreck or whatever. You can't turn away, and you can sit there envious that they can spend that kind of money. I don't know. It's nuts, but I guess in a way, because I work for an auction house, they are paying my house off. just very slowly. But... All right, Andrew. Call it an episode.
That's an episode. Yeah, we rambled through it, but we made it. And thanks for listening. We've definitely got some more stuff coming for you. We promise.
Yep. It's coming.
So, Brad, where can I find you?
I am on Instagram at TSISS350.
All right, cool. So we've got Auto Off Topic Podcast on Facebook, Auto Off Topic on Instagram and Twitter, and now we're going to have Scale Autocast on Instagram currently. Yep. There's nothing on there. You can go follow it if you want. There will be more stuff on there, but excuse me.
I might start building it up with some of the old Daily Diecast posts.
Yeah, go for it.
So, yeah.
And we're working on a website launch for Auto Off Topic.
Yeah, and, we said January of this year. January's not over, and it's we're gonna make it.
We're getting there. We'll do it.
Yep.
We'll do it.
Yep.
I got to I got some videos I need to edit too. I was looking at a couple of our other friends that have YouTube channels, and I was like, oh, yeah, I have some stuff I recorded and I never edited. So
yeah, big shout out to Jeremy for that, because we're gonna steal some of your ideas. Sorry, Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean him and about 10 million other automotive YouTubers.
Oh yeah, there's no shortage of them. I was just thinking because we've been talking about Jeremy's projects lately.
Yeah, listen, don't forget to ring that bell, like and subscribe below.
Yeah. And Jeremy's we might as well give him a little plug right now. It's Ratty Muscle Car is his.
Oh yeah.
YouTube channel. He's restoring / modifying one of the rustiest 1964 Impala station wagons I've ever seen. So most people would shudder in fear and run away from it, but he's sticking to it. So it's fun to watch.
All right, cool. So keep cars analog and aim for the roses.